Oh, hey, I got so distracted enjoying the music. I didn't even see the countdown get to 0. I have no idea. I guess I was maybe 5 or 6 seconds late on that transition. Hey, it's Jeff at theChurch.digital. Thanks for coming in today. Let me get my audio up a little bit to make sure I'm good, and things are looking great here today. I'm a little flustered today coming into the stream. I'll be honest. It was I was off site. I was actually working at a physical church this morning. I had some meetings, and I don't have a setup at the physical church to stream yet. And so kind of rushed home, got stuck in traffic, let AI do the driving so that I could email and do some things, which is not allowed. You're not allowed to email while Tesla's driving, full self-driving. Like, they don't like that. But I did it anyway, just trying to get everything set for today. But hey, we're doing a live stream today, episode, I want to say it's 356 with the Church Digital. I'm excited about this conversation today. We've got Marion Camacho coming on from CV Global Christian Vision. And I think this is the first time we've had somebody from Christian Vision on the show. That's embarrassing because I've got some friends in that space, just never actually had anybody on. So excited to talk to Marion a little bit, Christian Vision, hear about some things that they've got coming up with Digital Day. But before we get there, yeah, I got Flat Cap saying hype. And listen, this is quite literally, ladies and gentlemen, this is the thing that I need from you today. We've got to get the word out on the digital missionary conferences, the digital missionary summits that we've got coming up this fall here in America, of course, or wherever it is. This is September and October. We've got 4 conferences coming up starting September 17th. We're 2 weeks away from the first conference, and we just need help organically getting the word out. September 17th, is the Digital Neighborhoods Conference. We're excited about that. Digital discipleship, digital church planting. What does that look like? We're going to be talking about that September 17th, Wednesday, September 17th. Digital Neighborhoods. September 24th is our Christ-Centered Recovery Conference, Control Alt Recover. October 1st is our European Conference, European Summit, European Digital Missionary Summit, and then October 8th, Wednesday, is our Digital Missionary Gaming Summit. Now, all 4 of those are free. Online conference is incredible. We've actually had close to 1,000 people already register across all the conferences, which is awesome. We're excited about that and excited to see what God's going to do through that situation. But we do need your help. Listen, if you're watching this, you already know me. You know the Church Digital. You're already registered for those conferences. And yes, the Great Whitebeard is here. There is lots going on. That is true. But we need your help to get the word out. And so here's what I'm asking you to do. Friends of the stream, I'm asking you, I'm typing while I'm doing this, which is very hard, but I need you to go to share.missionary.digital. I did it, no typos. I'm very proud of myself. Share.missionary.digital. There's media kits, there's graphics, there's pre-designed posts, social media posts, things that you can use for stories, whatever platform you're on. Here's all I'm asking. Get the word out on these conferences and help get connected to other people that might be interested in doing what you're doing, sharing Jesus online, being digital missionaries, digital discipleship, evangelism, being involved in creating a movement of discipleship in digital and virtual spaces. We even got our good friend on today right now. Mr. Pete is broadcasting that in virtual reality right now in virtual reality. Mr. Pete, we got to talk about how you're going to do the conferences in big screen as well. But the heart of this, ladies and gentlemen, is I need your help to get the word out. Check out that graphic, share the website, share.missionary.digital, and help us organically get some people, more people connected to these conferences. We were hoping for 2,500 across all 4 conferences. We still got time. We still got some energy, but organically, we need your help to do that. Please share.missionary.digital. You know what? Thursday, I'm going to try to do a second stream. Walking into the other conference, I did a stream where I really featured each of the conferences and the speakers and the breakouts and talked more about that. I'm probably going to do that. I tried to figure out time based on just chaos right now. But We'll figure it out. We're excited about the conferences and what's happening with them. Cool. So hey, let's transition. I need some sort of like transition bell alarm button, something I can push that'd be like, all right, announcement's over. Let's get back to the show. So all of a sudden, I suddenly am picturing the two Muppets in the balcony, like the old guys yelling at me to shut up and get on with the thing. What are their names? Is somebody else, the guy that looks like Whitebeard and the guy that looks, more like a shaved me. I don't know. We've got some people watching in chat right now. Mr. Pete, I see already. Andasola, appreciate you being on here. Melanie, Flat Cap, others, Tom, anybody else that's watching, hey, thanks for coming on. Feel free to throw comments during the show. Of course, you're welcome to do that. Give that thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't. But let's get into the show here, talking with Marion. So, hey, Marion. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I started to call you awkwardly Adrian, which you are not, but that was my last meeting.
It's okay.
I am not, I'm not mentally functioning like I should. Tom has called it out correctly. It is Stoller and Waldorf, the two Muppets.
Yes.
Are you into Muppets at all, Marion? No.
I mean, no. I think I watched them when I was a kid a little bit, but not really.
not at all. There's actually it's a big deal in Muppet culture where they destroyed Disney removed the Muppet Theater in Disney Hollywood Studios, and now the Muppets are moving to Rock and Roller Coaster, and like the Muppet community is up in arms over the whole thing. Like it is a travesty, but you don't care, and probably honestly, the rest really of like America doesn't care, or the world doesn't care either. But I'm just telling you, like from a Muppet standpoint, like Kermit's feeling a little pain right now. So
sad.
I don't know where to go from here. I just kind of painted myself in a corner. Hey, thanks for coming on the show, Marion. All right, so you work for CV Global. Excited to learn about that. But tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up working for a global Christian missions organization. What's your story?
Yeah, well, first, thank you for having me on. I love what you're doing here. I love the community that you're creating. I did some YouTube stalking, so I'm trying to catch up a little bit. So I think it's great. But yeah, as far as I go, I've been a Christian as long as I can remember. I remember accepting Jesus when I was really young, like 5 or 6, on the edge of my bed with my mom right there praying with me. But I would say I really didn't surrender my life and start following Jesus until my early 20s. And that was right around when I met my husband in the church. And then today we have 4 kids. They all love God. Thank you, Jesus. And they love his house. And so we are proud parents. And as far as I go, my background's actually in TV news. And so I graduated college, broadcast journalism, went straight into TV news here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and was executive producing our morning show when I got a call from our pastor here in town, and that's where my ministry, full-time ministry journey started. And so I was a creative director for a while, and then God called my husband and I to England, where we spent 1.5 years doing ministry in England. And that is where I divinely encountered CV and have been with them for about 1.5 years now. Loving my job. I love the people I get to work with. The multicultural setting is amazing. So yeah, that's kind of the short CliffsNote version of my life. That's
beautiful. Yeah, I my degree is in radio, TV, film as well. And so it's a fun memories right there. I had a professor tell me once, Jeff, you don't watch enough television. You need to watch more. Like it was. Another prof called it the what did he call it? The cocktail party degree, because you know lots of like ancillary things that really don't matter. If you're at a cocktail party, you can tell phenomenal stories about actors and actresses and television and tech, but nobody really cares. But at least you put it to purpose, centered around broadcast journalism. So good for you. What were you doing in England?
We went and we knew like for about 10 years before we moved that God was calling us over there. We had no idea what that looked like. And a lot of times that's what our journey looks like with God. You you feel like he's pulling you and calling you to something, but what is that? So church planting, missionaries, we didn't know. And so we ended up going on staff at a church there, and just kind of helping through a period of growth and amazing church there in England. And I was on full-time staff at CV. And
Mm,
so, yeah, we're there. And then God called us back home. So now we're back here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with family and friends.
that's beautiful. I
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm kind of praying God's going to call me to England. That is my daughter right now. She's a junior in high school, and her number one college that she wants to go to is a school that's outside of London. That's
Okay.
a really big engineering school, and I think if my daughter ends up going to college to London, I feel like God's going to call us to England as well, and maybe live over there for a couple years. I don't know.
Yeah.
My son's not too excited about that. He's a couple years behind her, but we'll have to discern God's calling in the midst of that. But and that's the thing. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, even you may know working. I'm sure you're working some level remotely because CV Global is global,
Hmm.
but it's the beauty of what we do. We can do what we're doing pretty much anywhere and rock it. So, well, cool. Tell us a little bit about what you do specifically with CV Global. And maybe
Yeah.
what is even Christian Vision? Let's back up with that. What is Christian Vision, and then what's your role with it?
That's great. So yeah, CV started in 1988 by Lord Robert Edmiston and his wife Tracy. So he was on the House of Lords in England, and it's really just centered. If I could sum it up, it's all about evangelism. So we're reaching unreached people groups around the world. We are equipping Christians, just everyday believers. How do I share my faith? How do I tell people about Jesus? So how do we partner with individuals in sharing their faith and equipping them to do that? And then also equipping the church. So we have resources. If you go on our website, cvglobal.co, resources, courses, training. We also have testimony videos just of how God is encountering people around the world. And so the bullseye is just evangelism, and how we outwork that is in a lot of different ways. But mainly it's just staying on the forefront and the front lines of innovation, and how are we harnessing technology and being innovative in the ways that we're reaching people. And I'm going to talk about some of that when we talk about Digital Day, but not getting left behind as the times change. And the digital times change, and we get into AI and even quantum computing. What does that look like for missions? And we don't want to be left behind, because our mission is the most important one, and that's to share Jesus with people who don't know him. And so how do we do that? And staying on the front lines, that's what we're all about.
Yeah, that's such a great calling, right? We've got this massive opportunity. We've got this incredible responsibility that's given to us. And yeah, I mean, just think over the past years, COVID accelerated so much, and digital community explodes. Artificial intelligence is all over the place. Like, we're not even talking about quantum much yet, but they're already carving out what that means in the grand scheme of things, and how are we bringing the gospel influence into that space and utilizing
Right.
these tools. It was interesting. I was actually talking with a pastor the other day and sharing a little bit of like what we're doing, sharing Jesus online and really challenging people to be missional in digital and virtual spaces. And it was funny. The pastor immediately reflected back into the bearing of the talents. And it's like, you're not hiding the talent, you're using the talent, and you're using the technology, the skill set, the influence, the culture, the tools that are available to do that. And I love, it's one of the things that I love about CV Global is you guys are really challenging, opening up, having those hard conversations, using your influence to really lead out digitally and virtually into that space. And so that's beautiful. What's your specific role with CV Global?
Yeah, I am the head of communications.
La-di-da-da, cool. We're moving up in the world, man. Thank you. Glad you're here. Maybe I should have known that in advance walking in. I got an email. I didn't read the signature, but very cool. So so what's your basic role? What does that look like for you at CV Global? What's your 9 to 5 look like?
It's a great question. It's so we're splitting it into internal and external communications mostly. So we have more than, just around 350 employees around the world. So how are we communicating to them internally? Constantly having this point of contact and a touch with our people so that culture is strong, that we're all on the same page. What are we doing? Where are we going? So that's very important, and it just involves a lot of things. So a lot of internal communication, and then external would be just obviously anything that is facing the public. So our social media channels, YouTube, any sort of testimonies that are going out, and then as well as our website. So all of the articles and training and courses that we do, partnering with our platform team to make sure that our voice is consistent, that our tone, our brand, and that we're representing ourselves in a clear way out to the world.
I gotta imagine getting alignment and quality control and those things are hard with a 350 employee global organization that's 100% remote. There's a headquarters in Australia. I'm trying to remember specifically how the organization is structured.
Yeah, so we have a variety of locations actually around the world, physical locations. So most of our employees would be within a physical location.
Okay.
And so our main office is actually in Solihull in England. So that's where I was when I was in England. And then in Australia, Cape Town, Zambia, Miami, Dallas. We're kind of just spread all over the place. But a variety of locations.
Yeah, it's funny. I know the people in Cape Town, at least some of the people in Cape Town. I've talked to some people in Australia. Yeah. I'm here. I live in Miami, and I've never had any connection with anybody in Miami. So if maybe you can introduce me to somebody that's working here locally. Would love to connect up with them. I'm guessing Miami does a lot of work in Latin and South America.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I mean that's the bread and butter here of Miami. Well, cool. And so you guys are at the cutting edge of technology and evangelism, trying to connect the two together, having the hard conversations, always looking forward to what's ahead. And you're doing this digital day coming up in November. Talk to me a little bit about what this looks like.
Yeah, so Digital Day is a one-day basically conference where we bring in a lot of different speakers from a lot of different areas and backgrounds. And it's a unique space because we're talking church leaders and pastors, technologists, futurists, mission practitioners, bringing them all in the same room. So it's an in-person and also a streamed event, which I'll get into a little bit too, which is neat. But it's this unique space where we have church conferences, we have missions conferences, we have tech conferences, but how do we blend the three, bring them together in the same room with the same mission to reach people for Jesus? And so that's the big overall of Digital Day, is this unique space across cross denominations. We have all different kinds of denominations in the room, just looking at what are we dealing with in the digital world, in technology, what's coming up, what's happening now, and what is next, what's on the horizon, and how can we harness that to reach more people.
That's beautiful. Is the format is more like keynote? Is it like a TED Talk short? Is it dialogue? What's actually happening during the day?
Yeah, I would say both and. So it's a good mixture of keynote speakers, but shorter. So maybe shorter format. And then we've got a few panels happening. And then throughout the day, because we're big on partnerships. You probably know Nick Parker in South Africa. So we're big on, let's not, just bring everybody in the room for the sake of bringing everybody in the room, but let's talk about these different communities that are around the world that you could be a part of. And so we'll be highlighting different communities throughout the day that people can actually practically jump into right there and be a part of. So keynote speakers, panels, we'll have some people actually zooming in live on the day of that couldn't be with us, but we absolutely wanted to hear from them. So yeah, it's dynamic, it's fun, lots of networking opportunities as well. So just a great thing to be a part of.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and put this slide up. And so Digital Day 25, this is in London as well as online. And so it's a physical London event on November 6th. What it's interesting, like, it's funny. I'll go ahead and ask the question. It's a physical event talking about digital evangelism and digital culture. Anytime I talk about doing physical events, somebody looks at me like, Jeff, you're a digital guy. Why are you doing physical? And so let me flip the script on you. You're digital people. Why do a physical event?
So there's just something I think about coming face to face with people. And so a big part of Digital Day is creating like that unique space where I might never, I'll admit, I am like church girl to the heart. I might never meet a technologist or have any idea what they're talking about, but there's got to be this bridge that we could build in just meeting face to face, having that conversation. And who knows the God connections that can come out of the room when you're meeting people face to face. And you know what, honestly, the same thing can happen online. But there's just something, to be said about looking people in the eye, connecting with them, being in the room, feeling the excitement in the room as people are talking about these new things that are happening in the digital realm and how we can be a part of it. And, looking to the person next to you during breaks and, hey, I loved this. What do you think? And having that back and forth. So yeah, we want to create that space, that physical space, but then not forsake the digital as well, so more people can be involved.
Yeah, totally can picture that. I do love the idea of hybrid events. I think gathering people together is an incredible opportunity to do physically. Like it's interesting. My senior leadership, we talk about it all the time. We've never actually been in the same physical space at the same time with the Church Digital, and so we're actually right now, like we're putting together a retreat to bring all our leadership together, like for the first time, the board of directors together, and so that we can be together in the same space, because there is benefits to being together in physical space. Now, we don't have the luxury of doing it like on a regular basis, but to do it occasionally is beautiful. And so like a networking thing, to be able to connect together in physical space is great. But the reach of CV Global, like, not everybody can get to London, England. I frankly, I wish I could get to London, England on November 6th, but I'll definitely be leaning in online. And so what is the online experience look like? How similar is it to like a webinar, kind of what's the format digitally for it?
Yeah, so we have like dedicated live stream hosts that will be interacting with our stream attendees on the day of. So what that'll look like will just be, asking questions, engaging, and then hopefully we'll have some opportunities to even bring some of the speakers over during some of the breaks to, maybe just dive a little bit deeper into a subject. So that would be something unique for the stream experience that might not be in person, until later online. But yeah, it would look like just a lot of interaction with moderators, with other attendees through the chat, and then with live stream hosts. And then we have, some ways to interact for people through asking questions, even to speakers, through a thing called Slido, where they can interact and ask their questions. So just simple things like that, where we want to try to make you feel like you're in the room as much as possible.
Love it. Yeah, love me some Slido too. That's very cool.
Yes.
It's online, getting a behind the scenes view, very popular. Getting something exclusive, added bonus since they're not there. Love that too, and helping people find a voice so that they're represented. That sounds exciting. So who do you have speaking at the event?
Gosh, I'm so excited. We have a lot of amazing speakers this year, and I'll just maybe highlight a few of them. I think we might have a slide of some of them, but so Al Gordon we're kicking the day off. Actually going to hear from our managing director first, Hines, who's going to just give more insight into CV, who we are, what we do, how people can get involved. And so we're going to kick off the day with him. And then we're going to hear from Al Gordon, who is a pastor and leader at Saint Church in London. And if you've never heard of Pastor Al Gordon, I would just encourage you to look into him, maybe follow him on social media, because in my opinion, he's on the front lines of creativity and innovation when it comes to the local church. So what does that look like? Why should we be leaning into these types of things? So he's going to start the day just from a pastoral and theological perspective on why we as Christians should be paying attention to what's happening in the digital world and these advancements that are happening. So that's really exciting. It just kind of sets a tone for the day. And then we have people like June Morita, who's going to talk about AI and the future of AI, what that means for mission. Nick Moretti from Brazil is going to be there, so we're really excited. Alex Shee is going to talk about quantum computing.
Wow.
And you just say quantum computing to me, and I'm like, woo, but I'm sure a lot of people know way more than I do. But he's going to talk about how, a lot of us, we think AI, this is the future, but really quantum computing is right on the heels and is gonna take over from what I hear. So what does that mean for the mission world? What does that mean for church pastors and leaders and technologists? And so we're super excited to hear from him. And then even we have a guy talking about crypto payments. So how do we utilize crypto to pay people in the mission field in hard to reach areas? And so just really neat conversations. And that's what, Digital Day is designed to spark conversations. And that's what we're hoping it does.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, even the crypto. By the way, quantum, oh my gosh, like trying to understand, what some of this technology is. I am my futurist, I don't know. But I love examining and being on the cutting edge. And quantum, is hard enough to process on its own. The missional implications of quantum and how we need to start thinking about using this and preparing to go down this way, that's exciting to me. I'm just kind of overstating here a little bit to be silly, but hey, here's how to do a Bible study online. It's I've done that for freaking 25 years. That's boring conversation. Let's go over here and explore the untapped resources of quantum computing and what that looks like. So that's beautiful. That aside, I mean, to be honest, right now I'm struggling. We're trying to figure out how to get money to some of our people that are in the field, over there, and we've been wrestling with the crypto conversation, even internally, of whether or not we should be doing that and moving in that direction. And so it intrigues me even that you're talking about that and prepping that. So really interesting. I love how you're thinking ahead and kind of helping the church, helping missionaries wrestle with some of the stuff. It's interesting. I've got Bob here watching the show. Hey, Bob. Bob saying in many cases the church is where innovation goes to die. Unfortunately, that's the reality. Maybe a little bit more in the West than some. I don't know. I don't want to say that, but it is true that there is a little bit of that. But what's interesting to me, and I want to poke you on this a little bit, see if you're interested, Marian, if you can track with this. It's I used to work with churches a lot, and I, to be honest, Bob's stance echoes a lot of my experience working with churches. But there's something different because you're a missions organization, a global missions organization that is not weighed down by some of the church traditions, church ecclesiology. I don't know what with the church, but you don't necessarily have that. It doesn't seem to me that missions organizations have that weight. They're able to be more aggressive missionally. There's actually a pastor here in America over at Life Church, Craig Rochelle, that says everything short of sin should be done. And I don't see churches acting that way, but I see missions organizations like yours and some of your contemporaries that are leading the way in
Mm.
innovation, in thinking outside the box, in these things. And so, um, how how has that been for you? Kind of shifting and running and working with an organization that's running and trying to figure out
Yeah.
how to communicate effectively. Like, talk a little bit about the innovation side that you see through CV Global.
Yeah. I think that's great. Because, I was in the church full time before going to CV. And unfortunately, we saw a lot of what he was talking about when COVID hit, because churches were forced to innovate and to go online to stay engaged with people. And we unfortunately saw a lot of churches die
Yeah.
because they couldn't keep up with it, or they didn't want to. And so we were forced even to, at our church, which is a large church, and I would say at, a lot further ahead than where a lot of other churches are. We were forced to innovate, to go online, what's working, to keep people engaged. And I think the church just cannot be left behind. And we have to know that the world is moving on, and it's going to keep moving on without us if we don't try to keep up. So I think where the difference is that we just have to constantly be asking the Holy Spirit for wisdom and
Mm,
discernment, and to guide us, and keeping Jesus at the center. And because some of these technologies can be scary, and I think that's why a lot of churches back off, because AI. Ooh, I've seen a lot of people do that. And so, how do we engage with AI from a biblical perspective, and keeping the wisdom and discernment at the center? And so, with CV, I mean, that's what it is. We keep Jesus at the center of all that we do, and so we have the right things in place, the right guardrails in place, to make sure that we are navigating that world wisely and not getting left behind at the same time.
yeah. Where did thank you for that. Like, I love the idea of obviously Christ being at the center, but and being like, there needs to be someone that's able to move ahead, like to almost scout.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like the Old Testament. Hey, who's going to go and check out the army and report back of the villain army, the enemy, and come back and report what's going on. And in many ways, I look at, like, the work that we're doing, or the work that CV Global is doing, where you're paving the road. You're scouting ahead. You're reporting and finding. You're even experimenting with what's
Yeah.
going on. I've been, I've been the guy in my life that always seems to be ahead of the curve, and what we're doing isn't what the status quo is, but it eventually it gets there. Like, it's just as a story, I've told it before, but I probably had a calling to be a digital pastor in the '90s, like 1992. And, I was like, when I graduated college in '99, I thought, oh, hey, some church in America is going to, like, pay me to pastor AOL. It's going to be awesome. Somebody's going to hire me. Please, please, please. And nobody would hire me. And
Yeah.
so I was like, screw it. Fine, I'll do it myself, and built a 40,000 person online community, and it was awesome. But the idea of, so many times in my life, I've been told it doesn't work that way. My youth pastor, who loved me, who mentored me, discipled me, Jeff, no one's ever going to pay you no church is ever going to hire you to be a digital pastor. My youth pastor, Jeff, you can't do community digital. You can't do a church digital. You got to be in physical. And organizations, thankfully, like you, are really facilitating those conversations, are challenging the status quo, are really kind of leading out in that. As communications director, I'm curious. Do you? Because I get the negative feedback. I get the flack. I get people that want to like pick a fight. Now, I'm a small dog,
Yeah.
and I'm more accessible, and so, like, I get it. I understand. Do you get, like, negative feedback? Do you get people that are like challenging, even at the CV Global, at the large level that you are? Are people kind of negative and pushing back towards a lot of this digital innovation and Christ and that? What's been your
Yeah.
experience as communications director?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anytime you put yourself out there or put things out there, people have something to say, you know?
Yeah.
So this is just an example, but one of our articles online is about how we have used chatbots. So, you go onto a church website and maybe you're someone who's really struggling and it's the middle of the night and you reach out to a local church on your website. No one's responding because no one's awake.
Right.
So how can we use, something like a chat bot to just even begin the conversation? And we've built it in a way that it's as biblically sound and would respond the way that we would respond, but then ultimately connect them to a human. So we've had things like that where we've advertised, for lack of a better word, on Facebook this article that we've put out on how you can build the chatbot and give some ideas based on our experience on what we've done, and people asking, how can you use, chatbots can't have conversations with people. They're not Christians, it's evil, that sort of thing. So yeah, we do get a lot of that, but we also get a lot of great things said.
Awesome. So negative comes in, you just brush it off. I love that.
Pretty much. I mean, we respond, we can, but yeah.
You respond in grace and love. I as a personal, I'm not there. Like I probably get in more quote unquote fights. I don't want to say fights, but I probably get in more fights than I probably should on that. But I'm learning. God even last night. God's like, you got to let it go. Got to let it go.
Yeah.
Move it off.
I always say write out the response and then that you would want to, and then delete it.
And then delete it. Yeah. There was someone who's a well-known Christian pastor wrote a very negative article about my organization and named me personally in it. And I wrote the scathing reply, and I never pressed send. The best posts are the ones that you never send, or the worst posts, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I can totally relate to that. That's cool. Where did so Digital Day, where did the impetus, where did the idea come from for bringing everybody together? Like how does that fit into the culture of what you're trying to do with CV Global?
Yeah, I think it was just birthed from conversations of starting to get people together in the room who wouldn't normally get together. You wouldn't normally see church pastors and leaders in a room with a bunch of futurists and technologists and having conversations, knowing that they have the same heartbeat for reaching people for Christ. You really wouldn't see those people having dinner together. And so how can we create that unique space? And so those conversations started and Digital Day was birthed. 2022, I think, was the first one, and has just grown every year because we're just seeing a hunger for people wanting to be a part of this community. We like to say it's a community of communities.
Yeah.
So let's bring together these larger groups of communities into one room to have that conversation.
No, I love the idea of partnering, of connecting, of sharing, of working together. Like that has been another thing that I've seen not only in CV Global, but a lot of the other global organizations, missions organizations. They seem far more, willing to have the conversation, share resources, invest time and energy into that. And so like the missions arm just seems of this just seems to be far more open, and the ability to facilitate some of those conversations, to bring people together at a global level is beautiful. What's I guess I don't want to get too far behind, but like 26, 27, this is something you all are investing in for the future?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Is London always the spot?
London is, I don't know that it forever will be, but it is the spot.
It's the spot now.
We do have events throughout the year. So earlier this year in May, we had an event in Tokyo called Future Now, and it's kind of like a mini digital day. But that was in Tokyo, yeah. And we had one last year. So hopefully we'll have more of those kind of mini digital day events throughout the year in 2026.
Awesome. So you tell me I need to plan on flying to to London sometime November 26th next year.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Mark it down.
All right, we'll plan on that. And if you're ever interested in doing something in Miami, I would love to facilitate, help, be a part of, support something down here. Tell the Miami office we need to do something for Latin and South America.
I sure will.
That'd be beautiful. What's coming up for CV Global? Anything else to announce, to tease, to talk about?
Gosh, no, I think that's it. I think if you haven't checked out our website, like I would encourage people to do that, to see what we're all about. I love that you shared about just sharing resources, and that's what we're about, just free resourcing individuals, churches to share their faith. And so, yeah, check it out, see how you can partner with us. That would be awesome. But yeah, Digital Day, that's the big one coming up, and hopefully more in the future.
Awesome. So, so check out the resources over at cvglobal.org. Digital Day, I'm sure, is featured prominently on the webpage. Click on that, get more information on the event. It's $99 for physical. Online is free cost. Mm-hmm. Online is free?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Just have to register. Yeah.
Online is free. I will be registering and being a part from afar. And so if you can't make it to London, join me for Digital Day on November 6th. Excited about that, what's coming up. And if you want to contribute to the Jeff Flies to London Fund, you can reach out directly and you can help me be there in 26. I may or may not be kidding, but we'll figure that out. So, Marian, thank you for jumping on this. Congratulations. Hopefully on a successful launch of Digital Day 25. And thank you for what you're doing for digital missions and evangelism and discipleship through CV Global. We're very thankful for the support that CV Global has shown TCD and other organizations and what you're doing to champion the cause of evangelism in Christ and the gospel in digital and virtual spaces. So cool. Any as we're wrapping up here, Marian, any closing thoughts?
No, just thank you. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for the conversation. And I look forward to seeing people online and in person.
Beautiful. So, hey, we're going to land the plane. Thank you, Marian, for being here. For Marian, this is Jeff with theChurch Digital. Thanks for hanging out on the podcast today. And we'll see you next time on the show. Y'all have a good one.